Going live on the dog walk. Go on. How are you all doing? How is everybody today? How the devil are you? Just walking through Glenkiln, this farm here. There's a ripe smell, which I actually quite like. The smell of the countryside. And it's windy, so hopefully my audio is okay. I'm using the old lavalier mic on my shirt. And the Rode Wireless Go, for those that care about such things. Wireless, yes. New dog lead, for those that remember my last podcast episode from this location when the lead broke. This one isn't going to break. And nature, look at the old sheep over there. There's a sheep farm. We've just passed some horses. There's another horse behind me over there. So this is and there's a big tyre dump. Hi Ruben, how you doing? So this is quite near my house actually. It's only about a mile. And I do this circuit where I walk down. I mean, often you'll see Holy Isle in my shots. So you can see Holy Isle behind me there. So that's from the beach, obviously, where I normally stand. Just to orientate myself a little bit. And this farm track is actually on Google Maps, by the way. Well, the tyres are less idyllic. Yes, they are, I know. But you can actually follow this farm track on Google Street View, which is pretty cool. The Google car must have driven all the way along here back to the end of the road where I live. And then it's driven up my road, but only as far as our next door neighbours. It didn't go right to the top. But yeah, this place is amazing. I love the smell here. It's a strange thing. I bet you're the same, Ruben, right? You like a bit of farmland smell. That's cool. And here's some horses here. Or ponies. That would be a good shot, that one there, if I had my 85mm lens, because the foreground and background thing going on, that's a pretty cool shot. But I don't have my camera. I've got my phone and I'm talking into it. So here we are. And we're just about to pass some geese, which you might get to hear, and usually there's a dog in this garden as well, so you might get some barking. This is amazing, getting out into nature, into countryside. The sunlight is amazing right now. It's just, I live here, do you know what I mean? I live here and I get to walk out and see this whenever I want. Here's my friend Fred. How you doing, Fred? There you go. Say hi to my friend Fred. Good to see you. You were on the track for the first time last week. And there's my friend Angus. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Ruben's giving me a compliment on the old mobile streaming. Yeah, it's a fairly recent thing that we've had the bandwidth here to do that. Particularly in this part of the island, it was notorious for having no cell signal. And it's probably a year, maybe 2 years ago now, that one of the other network providers provided some coverage here. So everybody switched. We all switched to EE. I was on Vodafone before and the signal was just horrendous. So now we get 4G and I can actually do this. Do you know, this is an interesting thing. Every morning, I like to look through my day one journal, or rather my journal in day one, which is an app that I use on iOS and macOS. And there was a project I did where I went through all of my old journals, calendar entries, receipts, travel tickets, pretty much anything I could find, and built out a massive timeline in day one. And I like to look at that in the mornings at the feature called On This Day. So it allows me to look back at this day through the years. And on this day, I think it was in 2000, I've copied in a bunch of emails that I sent to my wife before we were married. This is when I was working overseas in Kazakhstan, and she was working in France in 2000, and then she moved to Luxembourg later on. And in the email I sent her, I was actually researching the stock market, particularly BT, British Telecom. And in the email I'd said something like, I think BT is a good bet because of mobile technology. At that time, BT was, I think they had their own cell network. It was either BT or it was before O2, I think. I think it was still BT Connect or something like that. And I said that in 20 years' time, which is now, we'll be able to have the internet in our pockets. And this is why I thought BT was a good bet. We'll have the internet in our pockets. We'll be able to listen to MP3s with streaming. We'll be able to watch videos with streaming. And it's going to be, and we'll have maps. I said we'll be able to look at maps to figure out where we need to go and how to get there and all that stuff. So, you know, in 2000, that was not a thing. And now it is 20 years later, so I called it. I did buy BT shares, and they didn't perform very well at all. I think they did a breakup at the time when they spun off the cellular component. Maybe it got bought by O2, I don't even remember, honestly, but it's funny to look back on the 20 years ago world when I was just waiting for this world, when I can get my device out on a stick and talk to my friends all over the world on the internet from wherever I happen to be. So here we are. Yeah, Fred, right call, wrong company. I don't know if Vodafone was a thing back then, or Deutsche Telekom maybe. It became T-Mobile. It's been an interesting transition from not being able to do this to being able to do this like we're in Star Trek. There's my friend Gary, a good guitar player friend of mine. Keeping well, Gary, nice to see you. Thanks for joining in. I hope we get to play some guitar this year in actual company, in real life. Can you imagine? What a hellish year it's been for music, honestly. And for hospitality businesses. I mean, this place, the Isle of Arran, is really almost wholly dependent on tourism. And we got no tourists. Like, it's tough. It's tough out there, folks. I hope you're surviving, keeping your heads above water. Now I've got the sun behind me, so that's not a great look. But the dynamic range on the iPhone 11 Pro Max is pretty good, I have to say, as is the auto exposure. There's a fire behind me, some burning going on. So, shall I record my podcast now? I think I shall. Let's multitask and get multiple pieces of content from a single dog walk. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Quoth the Camser. I'm your host, the Camser, and today I'm coming at you from the beautiful Isle of Arran, out on my dog walk, walking along Glen Kiln. And it's been a really interesting week in terms of personal development, business development, fear, recovery, all of those things about which I talk at length very often right here on my podcast. And if you're a listener and you would like to catch this going out live, you can do that. You just subscribe to my YouTube channel or to my Twitter at Camule, or like my Facebook page, Quoth the Camser, and you'll get a notification when I'm doing my live stream, which I'm doing right now, recording it here for my podcast audience and for my live audience. So do that, get a notification, and you'll get to hear whenever I'm going live, which is irregular and oftentimes unplanned. So, yep, that's what to do. So, let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk about fear, because I talk about fear a lot and it seems to be one of my favourite subjects. If we did one of those tag cloud things on my content, I'm sure that word would be up there as one of the biggest. So what happened was yesterday I was feeling really quite low. Imposter syndrome was large. And I was thinking to myself, what am I doing? I'm putting myself out there as a coach, a recovery coach. And it just, the fear, right? The fear. So I'm actually studying with a business coach right now, a guy called Hassan Kuba, whose book, The Unfair Advantage, actually turned my life around in a very big way, which all came about through the part-time YouTuber Academy. And now that I'm studying with Hassan, there's some banter back and forth. He'll reach out from time to time and ask how I'm doing, which he did yesterday. He said, "How are you today?" I said, "Not great, TBH." So I'm down with the millennials. I'm using acronyms instead of writing out whole words. That's what happens when you study with a bunch of millennials on a YouTube course. You learn to speak in abbreviations. That means to be honest for those that are in the dark. So he replied immediately with a Zoom link. He said, "You want to talk?" I said, "No, Hassan, I don't want to talk. But that probably means that I should. So yeah, let's jump on a call." So I did. I jumped on a call. And within 5 minutes, Hassan had talked me down and shown me that, you know, the fear is not real. Well, it's real, but it's not justified. And that I can disempower the fear. I can take control of that power for myself. And he set me a task, which was, well, first of all, he said, "You are what you do." And I've learned this from August Bradley, amongst other people. I studied with August Bradley as well. That's why he's on my mind. And so he said, "You are what you do. And you say you're a coach. Are you coaching?" And I said, "No, Hassan, I'm not." He said, "Well, you're not a coach then, are you?" It's like, okay, I see what you're doing here. So he said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" I said, "Well, I'm going to coach, I guess." He said, "When?" I said, "Next week." He said, "What about this week?" So this is how coaching works, is it, Hassan? Okay. What about this week? How am I going to do that? He said, "Well, you know a bunch of people from the part-time YouTube Academy. How about you reach out to them and ask anyone if they would like to jump on a call with you? You get a chance to practice the frameworks that I've taught you and to learn to listen." I said, "Okay." Well, my heart was pounding, thinking to myself, what am I getting myself into here? And he said, "Okay, I want you to post it in the Slack group, in the accountability section, and let people know that you're available, that they should get in touch. You can learn how to use the scheduling software Calendly, and you can get some bookings." So I said, "Okay, Hassan, I'll do that." Hung up the phone, went straight through to the kitchen and made a cup of tea and thought, what have I just done? What have I just done? Because up until that point, I'd been thinking, right, I need to work on my Active Campaign, which is software that I'm using for CRM, customer relations management, I think. CRM. So I need to learn how to use that. I need to learn how to set up email sequences. I need to learn about automation. I need to learn what my pricing structure is going to be. I need to look at other people's work to get ideas on how they do it. I need to take another course. Wait, what? Yeah, I was actually thinking about another course. And it's all procrastination techniques. And one of the things that I had just received actually the day before was an email newsletter from August Bradley. So back to August. And he'd said in his newsletter called Mind and Machine, he talked about fear and he talked about the idea of jumping off a cliff and building your wings on the way down, which I'd heard before. It's a good analogy. And then he went on to give an example, which was the course that I did with August, which is when I studied with him the Pillars, Pipelines and Vaults Life Operating System using Notion, which is one of the better courses I've ever done. It was so helpful, it was incredible. And he talked about how he was planning the course and he kept putting it off. He kept pushing it back because he had to learn the systems. He had to, and it's exactly what I've just spoken about with me, how he was procrastinating by thinking that he had to do this and he had to do that and he couldn't do it until, and he wasn't ready, etc., etc. And he decided at one point just to put a launch date in the calendar, to announce it on his Twitter, and then he would have to have it ready, you know? And that's what he did, and it worked. And I did the course, and there was no sign of it being unprepared, poorly prepared. It was an incredible course. And he said that had he not done that, he would probably be launching it just about now, which is actually when his second cohort is about to go live. So he would be about 6 months behind where he is now. So by putting that launch date in the calendar, committing to it, that's how he got it done. So this is what Hassan has been talking to me about. He said, just get some coaching clients and just start coaching, and then you'll be a coach. Then you can tell people you're a coach, and then you can start to build your wings. You know, you can learn as you go. You can use systems at their most basic level until you figure them out. But the main thing to do is to do the coaching. So yeah, business development, personal development. It's been an incredible week. It really has. So I put the link out. I decided I was going to send it out to my newsletter subscribers, which you can subscribe to at camscampbell.com. And I think I've got, is it 26 subscribers? So that's 26 real people whose life I could make a difference to. Do you know? So I sent it out. I sat there for a while with my finger on the send button, and it was actually cohort 2 of Part-Time YouTube Academy started in earnest yesterday at 4 p.m. The first live session was 4 p.m. yesterday. I don't know what the date is, 15th of February, something like that. And it got to like 5 to 4, and I hadn't finished writing my email. And I was, not my email, my newsletter. And I was like, oh no, I'm not ready. I wanted to get this sent, but I wanted to proofread it first. And I wanted to be there at the beginning of the first live session for Part-Time YouTuber Academy. So it's like, just hit send, and off it went. And then I was like, okay. I've done it. I've sent it. And it was scary as hell. Yep, it really was. But I did it. And this morning when I got up, I woke up to 4 scheduled calls, picked through my Calendly link. So I had to learn how to work Calendly. I had to quickly buy a license and work out what my email sequence was going to be. So having that pressure, those sort of time constraints, made me just get it done. And I did. I got it done. And now I've got some bookings, which of course are freaking me out. I'm like, oh my God. But actually, no, it feels a bit like having a gig on the calendar. You know, I play music a lot, or at least I did before pandemic, playing in hotels and pubs and restaurants, and it feels a lot like that. It's like that initial kind of, when someone reaches out and says, do you want to play on such and such a day? I'm always like, oh, I'll turn my phone over upside down, pretend I've not seen the message, hope that they go away, and then half an hour later I'll be like, I've had time to ponder, and I'll say yes, of course. And so I taught myself how to respond in this way by telling myself that playing music for other people is a privilege. And it is. And also it's something that I love, right? That's fundamental. I love playing guitar. I love singing. I miss it a lot. And if somebody wants me to come to their place and do that, I should do it every time. It feels like that. It's like if somebody has faith in me, they know my content, right? Because this is all going out to people that know me already. They've seen my videos, they've listened to my podcast, they've got my newsletters, they've read my blog. So they already know a little bit about me. And they're willing to book a Calendly link with me to come and talk to them and maybe help them through some of the things that they're dealing with right now. So that, it's a privilege, right? It's a privilege and an honour, and that's how I need to think of it. And so that is how I'm going to think of it. So I'm pretty happy, I'm pretty excited, I'm pretty scared. But I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to keep building my wings, and I'm going to fly. That's the idea anyway. So I will knock it on the head there. I'm getting to the end of the farm track close to my house. So I will thank you all for your time and attention, for listening today. Don't forget that you'll find me on all the socials at Camule, Twitter and Instagram, newsletter, camscampbell.com, and YouTube, of course, where you'll see some of my rambling about this kind of topic. So come and get me on there, youtube.com/camscampbell. Thanks for listening, and remember, you're not alone. Right, there you go, folks. Podcast recorded. I will have a look at the comments. I can see Angus is writing some really interesting stuff. This is on the back of my talking about August Bradley's having put a date in the calendar. Oh, he's saying, yeah, we did the same. We put notes. Really, it was the 17th of October to the 15th of November. You went from ideas and notes to a live course in a month. Unbelievable. And here's my accountability buddy, Esther. Let's try this with an editor. Aye, so same technique. Sticking a date on the calendar. It really works. Thank you, Ruben. I appreciate your friendship and your example. So yeah, it took it. Yeah, I can't believe that the part-time YouTuber Academy went from inception, from notes on a page to us sitting in a Zoom room in less than a month. That's amazing. Inspirational. And yeah, I will take that on board as proof that it can be done. And now look what's happening. Cohort 2, phenomenal, unbelievable, lots of fun. I'm so excited for it. I am there for it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm so privileged to have been asked to come on board as an alumni supporter for the course for Cohort 2. It really shows that, you know, if you put yourself out there and you try and help people as much as you can, things can come of it. So I think I can do this. I think I can do coaching. I'm confident about it. If I weren't confident, I wouldn't be doing it. I know that the fear is an issue, but it is for everybody, right? What's Esther saying? Try not to crack. Aye. It does, it pushes you hard. This is great. I've got all my pals here chit-chatting away in the background. But I've come to the end of the farm track, which means I'm almost home. So I'm going to shut down the live stream. I'm going to thank you all for coming on board and spending some time with me today as I walk around. I'll just show you what my street looks like from this end. So I live just along there, and then it's the other direction. It's up the hill that way. So that's where I'm going to go, make some lunch, and then work on some content. All right, folks, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the Zoom grid. Bye for now.